As artists, we use lines a lot. We use them as placeholders in the early stages of our drawings to measure, indicate perspective, contour, and gesture. And we use them in the final stages of our drawings when we're shading tone or as a powerful visual element that can guide the eye. So bad line quality can quickly ruin a drawing and give off a really bad impression of your skill. You want to avoid building habits of poor line quality. The longer you practice bad lines, the stronger those habits will become, and the harder it will be to break out of those bad habits. So I want to get you on the path to develop the good habits. And if you like this video, make sure to check out the full drawing basics course at proko.com/drawing. It's designed to give you the foundation you need to draw from observation or from imagination. Number 1, avoid the common mistakes. 2 very common mistakes are short, scratchy lines and chaotic searching lines. I did mention in a previous video that searching lines do have a purpose. We can use them to brain dump images from our head onto the page. This way we avoid letting our perfectionist tendencies stifle our creativity and limit our potential for exploring new ideas. But we have to be able to switch between these 2 modes. Are you brain dumping, or are you trying to draw something that's more presentable? In this lesson, we're going to focus on drawings with attractive line quality. So let's get back to those 2 common mistakes: short, scratchy lines and chaotic searching lines. Usually, when done by newer artists, these types of lines express to the viewer a feeling of anxiety and a lack of confidence. Sometimes the artist wants the viewer to feel that way. And some masters can use chaotic lines deliberately with confidence. Glenn Keane, Karl Kopinski, and they look amazing. But assuming you're not a master yet, let's start building good habits so that one day you too can control the chaos. So let's move on to some tips that you can do right now to practice better line quality. Find that comfortable speed. When practicing drawing with tapered strokes, the goal is to be fluid, relaxed, and confident. If you catch yourself scribbling aimlessly through something that you don't know how to draw, pause and just think for a moment. Sometimes bad line quality can come from your hand moving faster than your brain. You want to draw consciously and with purpose. Make sure to leave enough time between strokes to visualize the next one. As you're pulling a tapered stroke, do it at the right speed. If you move too slow, your hand might jiggle a bit and create a wobbly line. If you go too fast, the stroke might not land where you intended it. You should draw fast enough so that you feel like you're drawing with energy, but slow enough so that you can control your lines. It's like throwing a ball. If you throw it as hard as you can, you'll lose some control and end up losing the ball in your neighbor's backyard. But if you throw without building up any momentum, your ball will just land 3 feet in front of you. Practice so that you can find the most natural and optimal speed for you. And keep in mind, you might need to slow down when you're drawing something more complicated, with more detail, or if you're trying a new tool. Follow through. In baseball, you'll notice they follow through with their swing. After they hit the ball, the arc of the motion doesn't stop in front of their chest. They keep going with the motion and bring the bat to the opposite side. This results in more power and improves accuracy. Drawing lines is similar. If I know I want my line to end at that dot, pulling my hand toward the dot and following through past it will help with accuracy. Also, the energy and motion of my arm is recorded in the quality of the line. This line without follow through doesn't carry the same sense of motion as the one with follow through. Using your whole arm will help you feel the rhythms and gesture of what you're drawing. Again, don't draw with your fingers unless you're drawing with the smallest details. Using the whole arm allows us to gradually lift the pencil off the page. This will get you that taper at the end of your line. But what about getting that taper at the beginning of the line? Ghosting.
Hey, I'm here in the car. It's been a while, but I'm still here.
Now, I'm not talking about ghosting your friends, although that can help you practice more often. I'm referring to ghosting your lines. That is, practice drawing it a few times with your pencil hovering just slightly above the paper without making a mark. Just like you have to ease out of the line to get the taper at the end, you have to ease into the line to get the taper at the beginning. This means you have to be moving your arm in the direction of the stroke before the pencil touches the paper. When you're ghosting the line, keep your hand moving. Don't pause between each ghosted line. This will ensure that your hand is in motion as you begin drawing the real line, and give you that taper at the beginning. Ghosting has even more benefits. It helps make your lines look cleaner and less wobbly. By tuning your arm to the motion, your arm will execute the stroke more effectively, and you'll approach it with more confidence, resulting in a more confident looking line. Also, ghosting helps to improve accuracy. By practicing it before committing, the line will more likely land where you intended. If the ghosting part feels good, but the line looks different when you put it down, you're probably changing too much from the ghosted motion to the final line. So here's some tips to make your ghosting more effective. Ghost it in more than once. Ghost in the full line as if you're actually doing it, not just a portion of the line. Hold the pencil very close to the paper, about 1 millimeter, to minimize the change from ghost to final line. Ghost your line at the same speed as you draw it. Don't change the position of your hand. Don't change the angle of the pencil. And don't pause between the ghosted motion and the final motion. Basically, don't change anything except actually touching the pencil to the paper. Rotate the paper. Not every angle of line we draw will feel natural like this. For example, it's hard for me to pull this stroke because it goes against the natural movement of my wrist, elbow, and shoulder. Figure out which angles feel the most natural and which feel awkward. When you identify the awkward ones, you can practice them or you can rotate the paper. By the way, every line has 2 directions it can be drawn. You can draw a vertical line downward or upward. To me, upward feels awkward, especially if I'm holding the pencil with the overhand grip. I feel like I'm gonna stab through the paper. I noticed that if I imagine a perpendicular line to the angle of the pencil, the stroke direction feels more natural to me if I start on this side and pull the stroke this way. Keep in mind though that the angle of the pencil with the tripod grip is different from the angle of the pencil with the overhand grip. If this is all too technical for you right now, no worries, just get your sketchbook out and see what feels right. Now you can rotate the page to get your hand in a more comfortable angle for each stroke. But sometimes you might be working on a surface that you can't rotate, like a chalkboard or an easel. In those cases, it helps to rotate your shoulders a bit. Oh! As you practice and you train that muscle memory, those awkward angles will become less awkward. Use simple strokes. Now, we've already been doing this in this course. We can use tapered strokes to construct complex lines using many simple lines: C-curves, S-curves, and straights. If you notice your lines getting messy or chaotic, try to stick to just those 3 simple strokes. Trying to draw with more complicated strokes usually results in less fluid lines, unless you have more experience under your belt. Using simple strokes also helps you be more accurate. Trying to draw a more complicated shape in one swoop makes it harder to draw the correct shape with the correct proportions. With practice and knowledge about your subject, you can do this successfully. Until then, if you're drawing an arm, considering all the parts that make up the whole all at once can be intimidating. The arm has a lot of anatomical bumps that make the shape more nuanced. We need to consider these nuances to make the arm feel natural. If I simplify segments of the shape, the whole process becomes a lot more digestible. Again, don't move your hand faster than your brain can think. Okay guys, I hope that helps. Go do some sketching and keep these things in mind. And you know what's even better than Proko videos? Premium Proko videos. If you like this lesson, there's way more like it in the full Drawing Basics course over at proko.com/drawing. With the premium course, you get access to all the lessons, projects, demonstrations, warm-up exercises, and critique videos. So if you don't want your drawings to look like this, go to proko.com/drawing and learn the basics.